All right, folks, good evening and welcome to the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live from NGC Studios, here for another Saturday evening edition of the Whitfield Report. And I want to thank you so very much for joining me here tonight, wherever you are in the past, present, future hour, if you're listening to the podcast. Thank you all for joining me. Very special show tonight. We've officially reached 700 subscribers on YouTube, which might not seem like a lot, but considering that, it took me almost a whole year to reach 600 alone, that was a pretty big deal in and of itself, so I'm very glad to have all your support on YouTube. But we're also on D Live and Periscope as well, so you can watch over there. And of course, we have the audio podcast, which recently hit over 10,000 regular downloads. So that's pretty cool too. And at any rate, contact info for tonight's show. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @SMDB_NDC. Hashtag, Whitfield Report. Hashtag Sam Savages. At Sam Whitfield on Parler and Gab. And Facebook.com/The Whitfield Report. And thesamwhitfield.com is my website address, which, by the way, I do want to mention, some of you guys, I've gotten some DMs from some people saying that they've been having trouble with the audio podcast and receiving updates to that via Apple Podcasts and whatnot, and Spotify. And I don't think it's a case of they're shadow banning me or doing anything nefarious. Usually what I do is I upload the Saturday show I take the audio from the stream and basically upload that, and I try and do that after the stream is over, as soon as I can, but sometimes it will take a bit for Anchor, my hosting platform for podcasts, to process that. So usually I'll just post it the day after, but if for some reason you're, if Apple Podcasts or, whichever app you use is giving you trouble, just refresh, and, if you're still having trouble, just go to my website, and there is a page where you can subscribe to the RSS feed directly. So just wanted to address that for you guys, who have been messaging me about that and whatnot. So, very excited to have you all here for 700 subs on YouTube. And, we're also going on D Live slowly but surely. If you would like to contribute to tonight's show, streamlabs.com/The Whitfield Report. And should be a pretty jam-packed show. Later on, we're going to be joined by Apex Gamma whenever he can get here. I think he's still working, and or he might be in traffic, but he is going to be here to talk about TikTok and China later in the show. And then E Scorpio is also going to be joining me to discuss the Owen Benjamin Patreon situation. So we'll be doing that here in a bit. But I've got the Discord set up, so if E Scorpio wants to pop in here, he can. But real quick, I do want to just take a moment to acknowledge the passing of presidential candidate from 2012, Herman Cain, who passed away from coronavirus earlier this week, and he was the first presidential candidate I endorsed on this show. And in my mind, if he had actually ran instead of Mitt Romney, he would have beaten Obama, and we would have been able to curtail a lot of the stuff that, came afterwards. I don't think all this race stuff would be as bad, if Cain had become president and beaten I don't think Occupy Wall Street would have come to fruition, and therefore Antifa. Really, as I've said before, I think Obama did the greatest amount of harm, to this country. Not so much in his first term, but in his second term. That's really when the SJW culture really started to, become blatantly obvious. Although it was over there, it was always there, I suppose, somewhat. But rest in peace, Herman Cain, and well, I know he had a stake in KFC, but his big thing was Godfather's Pizza, if I'm not mistaken. So, at any rate, so E Scorpio is ready to chat with us about the Owen Benjamin Patreon situation, and I just checked my VC settings, so everything should be good to go here. So let me just go into the VC settings, even though I am technically not on Discord anymore, and we will see what happens. So, E Scorpio, are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here, Sam. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Hopefully, I'm checking the audio levels, and hopefully people can hear you. So,
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're good. So, anyway, man. First off, how have you been with everything going on lately in the world?
I've been well, man. Just staying busy. Just pretty damn busy.
Nice. So, anyway, you have been one of the leading, I guess, enemies of, grifters for the last, year or so, for the last couple months at least. And you've been spearheading, or one of the spearheaders of the, Patreon Gamma Research team. So, I guess I've been hearing from a couple bears who have been spamming my comment box of, "Oh, Owen won the lawsuit. I bet you feel dumb now." And apparently a whole bunch of mainstream, I guess not really mainstream, but more, bigger YouTube content providers, they seem to think that Owen has already won this thing, and that, Patreon is going to fall somehow. But you put out an interesting take on this, and I was wondering if maybe you could, explain what actually is going on here.
Yeah, Sam, no problem. I'll tell you what, it is frustrating, and I would, at this point, call those sources mainstream. You have your, by this point they are, Tim Pool as one of them. Rickade has been doing a couple of shows on this. There's been a few other ones out there. But, in a nutshell, Sam, it's this claim that they've won is they're jumping the gun completely. And this is just what happened. What happened? I believe it was Monday. Is that the judge went ahead and denied the preliminary injunction for the Patreon requested, and but that was only one of, I believe, 8 motions that the judge needs to rule on. So this hearing has only just begun. Now you have everybody claiming like it's over, like Patreon laws, that because that's the big thing. That's the big thing is everybody's parroting Mike Cernovich's take, and that was his big headline. Like I said, I believe it was this past Monday. I know it was within the last several days that Patreon Cernovich's big headline on Twitter was that Patreon loses or Patreon lost, something to that effect. So then you had everybody retweeting Cernovich. You had Tim Pool. You had I think the Quartering is getting in on this action too. But that's the frustrating part, Sam, is that we've been the Gammas over at the Gamma Secret King subreddit have been following this thing for I think since the beginning. I mean, this has been going on since last November, I think, is when Owen got kicked off Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, he's been kicked off Patreon for a while now, since November. And the weird thing too is if they took 5 minutes to actually look at what Owen had said prior to this, Owen actually said at one point that he didn't care about his Patreon.
He said that several times, yeah.
Page at all. And so one of the things that I keep, hearing is, well, A, they've lost, Patreon has, and B, that this could set, precedent for, other, deplatformed users and potentially for Owen to go after other platforms like, YouTube, which, to that I would say good luck, because YouTube and Google is a completely different animal from Patreon. I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, Patreon is considered a pretty small fish.
Yeah, and there's no, I mean, at least as far as I've seen, there's no evidence that that Patreon is going to, is necessarily going to be going down the tubes, anytime soon. Just because I've seen that they keep doing like layout changes and improving things on their site, overall. So if they have the money to do, major renovations, then clearly I don't think they're going to be collapsing necessarily.
Well, you're touching on a couple of topics that I want to discuss, Sam, and that's the first one being the what precedent is this going to set? Because the way it was presented to the public from the very beginning was that this was an issue of free speech, an issue of deplatforming conservatives, quote unquote conservatives, because it's pretty clear that Owen Benjamin is not a conservative.
No. And he's not even a free speech warrior either. That's what drives me crazy.
No, not at all. No, he's one of the worst as far as censorship goes. But yeah, there's not going to be any precedent from this case. And what further than that is that now what you're hearing, all these bears and the Johnny Come Lately's parrot, is that this is that was never the issue. It was never about getting Patreon to do the right thing or whatnot. It's about bleeding them dry. We're bleeding them dry in court. That's what everybody's saying now. And as we know from Mr. Teddy Spaghetti, that Gammas will always move the goalpost. So this is what we're witnessing is goalpost moving. It's not about getting Owen back on Patreon anymore. It's not about setting a precedent for free speech. It's about getting revenge on Patreon for perceived slights. Now, look, I just want to take the time to clarify here that I am not necessarily on Patreon's side in this matter. It's more of a case of I'm against the unauthorized crew.
Right.
I see Patreon as the lesser of the two evils. But sure, Patreon's done some things that need to be corrected. But I guarantee you, Vox Day and Owen Benjamin are not going to be the gentlemen to do it. Now, what was the other issue you brought up? Oh, the money. Yeah, speaking about the money, that's another important thing to consider is that if you look in the on Jams's website, the cost is about $3,000 per case. Okay, now we have 100 total cases that Owen brought to arbitration, and at $3,000, that's only $300,000. Now I think there's a bit of other fees. There's other costs included in there. And, of course, if it gets dragged out, it's going to cost more. But we're looking at costs at the moment between $300,000 and $500,000, which is, a lot more than the millions that they originally told us they were going to bleed out of Patreon. So that's just another thing to consider.
So I have a question, and this is completely, just your opinion, but why pick Owen for this? Because it seems like out of that whole grifter crew, I mean, say what you will about Gavin or Cernovich or even I mean, I would kind of put Teddy, in firmly with Owen, but it seems like if they real wanted to, go after the whole free speech thing, they would pick someone in that crew who at least has some legitimate, clout to go after Patreon instead of someone who constantly grifts and rants about, moons and energy or something like that. So,
well, Owen, yeah, is a bizarre test case for sure. I think it just came down to the fact that he was the first willing guinea pig. He was. He was. I think we've talked about this before, but that whole crew is connected to each other. Now, the way I understand it is that this was Mike Cernovich's brainchild. I believe he's the first one that put it out there publicly that this could be done to a company such as Patreon. Now, what probably happened, this is all conjecture, but what probably happened is he went to Teddy Spaghetti with that plan, and they just waited for the first idiot to get kicked off of Patreon that they were connected to, which of course was going to be Owen. But that also raises the question, did Owen intentionally act in a way that would get him kicked off of Patreon? And my theory with Owen Benjamin is that he is intentionally trying to get kicked off as many platforms as he can. This yes, and this is raising more questions. Like maybe this was the plan all along. Maybe I mean, we know the motive was monetary from the court papers that Owen wanted a huge settlement, a settlement that far exceeded what he was entitled to from his $2,000 a month he was getting from Patreon.
Well, what was interesting to me, it's interesting that you bring up the whole thing of him getting intentionally banned from, Patreon and whatnot, because, and maybe I shared this with you off air, but as I've shared, back when Johnny and I were part of that club for the brief time we were. That was around the time that Owen got banned off, Twitter. And I kind of remember, like, the one interaction I actually had with Owen, and he was a lot more reasonable then, but I was kind of like, Owen, do you really need to drop the N-bomb on, on Twitter all the time? Like, it's not even, it's not even funny at this point. And, I mean, his whole thing even then was kind of, well, if I get banned off Twitter, then I'll be like, then I can maybe get on to like Ben Shapiro's show, and like it'll actually be good for for our brand of conservatism. So even then it kind of seemed like he was thinking that way. Now I don't think he really fully understood how much trouble that would actually get him in, but still. It kind of seemed like, even back then he was trying to purposely get deplatformed from things. So,
well, what the deal is, Sam. I mean, we've been on YouTube for a while. And we're kind of course, in a different time. 2020 has been crazy, but that was the issue du jour back. The last few years was the deplatformings. Everybody had a megaphone after that. Whenever a conservative was deplatformed, they would make the rounds on all the usual suspects, your Crowders, your Shapiros, and they would be at least momentarily the hero of the day.
Right.
So I think Owen saw that, and he went with it, which, as I said, was big at the time, and he just kept getting so many accolades that he stuck with it. Owen is like a one-trick pony. So he's going to stick with what he knows. And in this instance, it's the deplatformings. But as I said, if there's also a monetary gain from it, then he for sure is going to jump at that. And I think that's where we're at now.
So then, who are some of the other players? And I've looked into this a little bit on the the GSK subreddit because I'm on there a lot too. But who is like Mark Randazza and all of these new players that are entering the fold?
Okay, so Mark Randazza is the creepy porn lawyer. He is literally a creepy porn lawyer. He is the man that Owen hired to represent him. To represent him and the Bears. Now, keep in mind, Owen is not involved in this lawsuit with Patreon. This current lawsuit, he's involved in the arbitration, but Randazza is not representing him in the arbitration. Now, at some point, he and Teddy Spaghetti realized that the Legal Legion of Evil were not fit for this job. So that's why they had to hire Randazza. Now, that man is a well-known First Amendment attorney. That's how he came to be a creepy porn lawyer. He represented a lot of gay porn websites in First Amendment cases.
I was just ready to ask that because I kept getting him confused because I'm like, is this the same creepy porn lawyer that Stormy Daniels hired to go after Trump? And I'm like, no, that can't be. That can't be. They're cut of the same cloth, you might say.
But that was Avenatti. That was Michael Avenatti.
Oh, right.
That was the other. But yeah, and I don't believe Avenatti did any First Amendment work. But now Randazza is very sleazy. He's from the things I've read, was very involved with his clients. Let's say his gay porn clients, to the point that he allowed them to film gay porn scenes in his office, in his legal office. So he was And he's based out of Las Vegas. I mean, that should be all I need.
Oh yeah, well that explains a lot right there too.
So that's who Randazza is. He's not, and that's the funny thing. He's not LLOE, but he's they had to go and snatch him up. I think because they wanted people to think that this was a First Amendment case, but it's just all kinds of ironic that Owen, Mr. Against Squirt Boys, Mr. Whatever the hell else, Mr. No porn, no fap in his life, and that's what he wants all his bears to do, is not to stop masturbating, but he goes and gets a lawyer who is very comfortable representing the dumpster pumpers, let's say.
But yeah, let's not forget. It's not even about it's about the porn. Think about the porn push that Owen has been. The anti-porn. It's not even about masturbation. Porn and masturbation went hand in hand. Good evening, by the way, fellas.
And hey, Apex, what's going on, man?
But no, I just thought that was interesting that porn. It's par for fucking the course for Owen, man. Like he'll turn he's fucking street sweepers his fucking shit talk across the board. Anything that comes in his path, and then. But if he can help him down the line, I swear to God, I was talking in somebody's Discord earlier about this whole Patreon thing, and actually, it was your Scorpio. It was your post about the lawsuit on UATV, the parody post. We were just discussing how funny that would be if, like, the Bears actually turned around and, Owen destroys Patreon, and then the Bears turn around and destroy Owen, because I mean we all know what unauthorized is and has been, and the promises that were made, both verbal and written, of services that weren't kept, and stuff like that. But
okay, so we might want to be careful though, because Mr. Teddy has already said that when they're done with Patreon, they're going to turn their attention to us defamatory gamma. So might want to bite the tongue there.
Oh, well, no, I just thought that was funny. It was a parody post. I mean, Teddy does scare the shit out of me. Let's be real. I can hear that chair creaking in my sleep. So
I wonder if he's going to be where is he located? Spain or Italy? So I wonder if
he's in Europe. I'll just put it at that.
So yeah, so let's not go any further than that.
So I wonder if he's going to be sending the cost. I'm just wondering which organized crime outfit he's going to send after me here in Florida to drag back to Europe or wherever. So.
Oh, well, that's an old one, Sam. Everybody knows it's the Pasta Nostra.
well,
yeah, probably knowing him. So you were saying something, Apex?
Sorry. I just started choking when Scorpio said that. Oh, sorry. I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't be the first wheelchair-bound young man that Teddy has had pulled out of his house for saying mean things. So, right?
Well,
yeah.
Actually, he would be the first. He would.
Would he? I thought there was a disabled kid that he called the cops on, got swatted like years ago, that he bragged about.
No, I debunked that. That was in the Vox Day documentary. That whole story was made up.
Oh.
Yeah, I got in contact with the wheelchair kid. He was.
Oh, shit! No way, dude. That's even better.
The wheelchair guy isn't even in a wheelchair, right? He's like some zookeeper from Boston, right?
Yeah, I got the police reports too. There was no arrest or anything. Yeah. There was a visit. There was a visit to have a talk with him, and that was it.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I can't believe I missed that, dude. Because you did good work on those documentaries, dude.
Well, I kind of have to thank you for that, though, Scorpio, because prior to that, there were some people who thought that I was the the wheelchair bound kid. You know, understandably so, maybe, but like I hadn't even heard of Teddy's spaghetti when that whole thing had allegedly occurred. So, but yeah.
So I came in just a few minutes ago, and I stayed silent because Scorpio was talking. But what's the? Well, I don't want you to touch on anything you've already touched on. But is there any updates to like the Patreon and stuff that you haven't touched on yet, or just Owen in general that you haven't touched on yet? Because I'm way behind on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, we talked about how the judge denied the preliminary injunction.
Right.
But that was just now that's what we kind of just started talking about it, but that's what's being overblown in this whole narrative that's going around. Is Patreon did not lose because this was just a routine part of the trial. The Randazza actually asked for, I believe it's a 2-week extension. So the Bears, by way of their creepy porn lawyer, have until September 25th to respond. Now, so that means this thing. Now there's been on the docket a court date of November 4th. So this thing was always going to last for at least months, and it might even go into next year. So that that's why. Yeah, it's court. So
right, and I mean, Patreon's got deep fucking pockets, man. And I know Owen and Teddy think they've got them bent over here, dude. But I could see this shit going on for fucking years, and it draining every single thing that they have, or it could go both ways. I mean, Patreon's not infallible, but I imagine they're more fallible than fucking Owen and Teddy fucking spaghetti.
And that's the position I'm coming from. Now Owen is presumably already out over $100K just in lawyer's fees for this thing. Ooh. So imagine if this goes on for, another 6 months, another year. I mean, you're going to start seeing some more Bertaria fundraiser drives. I'll tell you that much.
I could see this shit going on for years because it's not unusual for court cases, depending on what kind of, what the charge and, the implications and stuff are, to go on for a great deal of time, and if, especially if Patreon ends up bent over, or in a tight spot in any kind of way, again, they have much deeper pockets than Owen and Teddy do. And I could just see them fucking bleeding them dry in, just in litigation fees and court fees and lawyer fees and all the other bullshit, maybe not, but.
Well, now, and that would be interesting because Patreon would be, in effect, using the lawfare tactic that Owen and Ted are using against them. So it's all a big mess. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is that everybody is going to lose in this case.
Part of me I see coming. Part of me also wonders, and I hate to kind of interject, but I think, Scorpio, you touched on this just a second ago, but to me, it seems like this whole Bertaria thing is almost kind of like a front for the lawsuit.
Of course it is.
It's really hard to tell with Owen because he comes up with, he'll come up with inane random shit, off the top of his head like every day, right? But the lawsuit happens, and then suddenly he gets the idea that he's going to buy all this land, and all of a sudden he wants to start a campground. I mean, he may be crazy, but he's not that crazy. So
and he may be stupid, but he's not that stupid. I mean, see, Owen. That's the thing, is Owen has been fucking full tilt. The Owen we see now for almost 2 years now, which is crazy to think about because it does not seem like that long. Because I found him right before the switch, which most of the audience knows, and of course Sammy, but. So I watched that flip in real time from like just a normal dude that tried to do things that he was, good at, like play piano and make shitty jokes and talk to the camera in the morning drinking coffee, to, the spiraled out lunatic flat Earth and the moon's a battery and fucking all the other crazy shit. But he's been doing this for long enough now. I mean, he's got it figured out, and especially with Teddy. Once Teddy came on board, him and Teddy Spaghetti became, buddy. I could see the shift in Owen towards the grift, even more so towards the grift, more of a focused grift, because then came unauthorized, which, I mean, is just the biggest fucking joke I've ever seen, and it remains so. People pay, it was a fucking 360, I don't remember what it was, but it was like $1 a fucking day or some shit for their WordPress site. Again, we all know this part, but I don't think he's that stupid, man. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And maybe not exactly, because he's going to piss the wrong lunatic fucking bear off one of these days, pulling these fucking scams. Because every time he does this, another great bear purge happens. You know what I mean? It happened with Fuentes. That happened there was the one time he called out fucking active military for some, I don't even remember what the fuck it was for. Calling out active military. And that was one of the clips on my original channel that I had at least a dozen bear names that were like, yep, this was my moment. Fuck this dude. I thought he was just kind of crazy, but he's turned people a lot. And then of course the Nathan Slattery thing. I mean, what is it? Like every 6 months or so, there's a great bear purge, because people are like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And, he calls the ones that aren't loyal and, recruits and promotes a whole new inner circle. It's fascinating to watch, because he seems to be pretty fucking good at it, exploiting dumb people on the internet. I mean, he's obviously not the only one, but he's doing it different, I think.
And now I'm pretty sure I've seen you in Milker's comments, E Scorpio, but I assume you're familiar with Milker Nation too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who is it?
Yeah, so Milker's been documenting that Owen has buddied up to this James True guy, I'm not, like, the thing of it is with me, I don't even know who half these streamers are in general, but like now Owen's getting into bed with like these really obscure, guys, and then pissing them off too. So it's interesting. So
yeah.
Well, bro, I mean, let's go. You could go as far back again, almost 2 fucking years ago at this point, well over a year now. But what's that flat Earth lunatic? Dubé, Eric Dubé.
Yeah, Savanier.
You know what I mean? Savanier, right? Exactly. He's a niche. I mean, he had 20, 30,000 subscribers, but dude, Owen had 250,000 subscribers. At that point in time, so. He's been punching down forever. He's not afraid. Mersh was always fucking smaller than him.
Yeah.
Always punches any direction. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, Dubé is big as far. The weird thing with Owen is, I mean, obviously he is on a smaller platform now, so automatically he's going to be a big fish in a small pond. But Dubé had a pretty big following compared to these guys. I mean, just in the last month or so, he's already started feuds with, and I believe these guys are exclusive to, for the most part, exclusive to D-Live. James True and Lift the Veil. He's already started beefing with. He started beefing with those two guys. So. It's it's just part and parcel for his lunacy.
Yeah, man. If you have a platform, and especially if any of the bears watch you, whether we're talking Nathan from Lift the Veil or this James True guy or fucking anybody, if bears are inclined to watch these other people and then come into Owen's chat and, one person, 2 people, whatever, but if it becomes like a trend of people like, oh, you and James True guy, you guys are talking the same thing. You guys are the same person, like Nick Fuentes' chat did with him. And he's like, I don't know if we're the same person, but sure, I'll talk to him. And Owen fucking lost his goddamn mind.
What strikes me too is I was watching the James True, and I was watching one of the James True videos that Milker put together, and what's interesting is Owen acts, and I don't mean this to be mean, but this is just kind of how I see it. Owen's mannerism, like he always acts like a 12-year-old boy, like oh, me and James True have been texting back and forth like all day today, and he's so cool. We agree on so much. Like I'm like holy crap, that that's how I used to talk when I was like 12 or 13, and I met like a new friend or something.
When Owen is genuinely excited about something, especially like connections that he makes, whether we're talking Vox Day or like James True, or man, I don't know if I still have it on my phone. I don't think it's on my backup channel, but that fucking clip, I don't know, it was a longer clip from way back in the day. God, it was almost 2 years ago now, 18 months at least. That Owen was reading off text messages that between him and his buddy in California that owns a gym, and they were talking about Columbo, the Columbo thing. Do either of you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
dude. And he's reading off these text messages.
The cop show, or
this dude. No, Columbo. Yeah, yes, Columbo the cop show. But it was a what do you call it? Fucking, I almost called it a Mandalorian effect. Fucking Mandela effect. The Mandela. It was when Owen was hard on the Mandela effect. He was saying Columbo doesn't exist. It's always been called Columbu. And he was spiraling out about it. And he was reading text messages to his old friend in California about this Columbo thing. And he was just like, he would read off part of the message, and he's like so happy. But, reading this conversation off with one of his friends. I don't know. It was really weird to me, which is why part of the reason I clipped it in the first place. But he's also reading off LOLs. He's reading off LOLs from his best friend, who's a legend. But he's like, don't fucking say LOL, you stupid gammas, because nobody says LOL. Shit like that.
Yeah, it was a Mandela effect thing. It was actually a bodybuilder whose name was Marco Columbu. Okay, exactly. That's what everybody says his name is, Marco Columbu. But Owen got it in his head that it was actually Columbo. So, I mean, that's where the whole Shapiro thing quote unquote joke comes from.
Right.
It's from that episode.
Well, and see, I thought my interpretation of that, because I didn't look that much into it at first, because if I remember correctly, I had recently got my first Nintendo Switch, and I was playing Breath of the Wild for the first time. So I was like playing Breath of the Wild and listening to Owen and trying to record shit. But if I remember correctly, someone had pointed out in the comments of one of those videos that Owen was talking about Columbo, the TV show, and mixing it up with Columbu, the bodybuilder. And he thought he had seen some sort of magazine, like Men's Magazine or something. And there was the evidence was pretty clear. I wish I had that clip still. But yeah, it was one of those. He was on and on about the Mandela effect, but no, you're talking about a bodybuilder in a TV show. Columbo's always been called Columbo. Columbo's always been called Columbu. Whatever. And it's, again, in my clip, he's talking to his friend in California who owns a gym, and he's trying to convince him, like, oh, if you came to work tomorrow and your gym was called, Gold's Jimbo or some shit, he's like, yeah, but that wouldn't happen. And everyone's like so excited reading it out. God, he's very childish. But I mean, you know what? I can't help but laugh at the dude. Not for the jokes that he tells, but he's so fucking retarded.
Yes. Still Nacho friend says Owen is like a teenage girl with a new boyfriend when he makes a friend. He must be feeling. He must be feeling real alone. Yeah. Well, exactly. I'm like, I was saying, Owen acts like, Owen acts like a preteen, whenever he makes like a new friend. So, um, so it's weird. Um, I mean,
So I have a question for you, Scorpio, because I'm going to assume. Well, this would have to be fact because I have literally not watched any Owen like live since he's been on D Live. I've watched clips and stuff, but this whole turpentine thing, I called it from the get go, or at least I said rather from the get go that man was never going to drink turpentine on stream, and you were never going to see evidence that he does it. Is that still true? Has he ever actually drank turpentine, or is he just
No.
still talking about it?
Yeah, no, he hasn't. No, nobody's ever seen him drink it, of course. And as far as him talking about, I think that I've heard him bring it up recently, but that's one of those things, man. I mean, just like you just mentioned, Mandela effect and all that stuff. It's kind of like a fad for the man. He'll be hardcore into whatever subject for whatever amount of time, and then he'll drop it for something new again, like a child with a shiny new toy or something. But this all goes. I mean, like I say, once you start looking, like you said, 2 years back, you start noticing these trends, right? Now, this turpentine thing, he kind of picked it up around the same time when he started picking up these men like James True. He started going into holistic medicine. He started going into New Age philosophy. So now that's what we're seeing is we're getting at the tail end of this. Someone described it as him picking up different grifts. Okay, I mean the same thing with Dubé and the flat Earth situation.
Yep.
So he had to shed all that, and then he went into this New Age thing, and now we're getting to where he's shedding that. So the turpentine was just a tiny part in all that.
Bro, he's done it. He's done it literally dozens of times. And I mean that like quite literally dozens of times. I mean, the ones that stand out are like the flat Earth. And obviously turpentine's recent. But every single internet niche that I've ever heard of, and many that I haven't, but like he, at one point he shifted from, at least for a few weeks, if not months, he started talking about the Earth and Moon being like batteries or some crazy bullshit. And it sounded like crazy bullshit because he was misquoting actual science from what's called like the electric universe theory, the Thunderbolts project and shit like that. It's it's the idea that the universe is based around electricity less so than gravity, and it's pretty solid science. There's a lot of pretty solid science around the fucking batteries at positive and negative anode cathode fucking shit, like the way Owen described it. But it made me realize something at that point. Owen, like, again, when you go back far enough, he figured out that people fucking throw money at him when they say things that they want to hear. So he quickly realized, with that nigger stole my bike, that he can be a controversial figure and he can do it well. Or at least he can play it well enough that people are like, yeah, man, you go. So it started with the first heel turn that I saw personally was I watched that man go from being like the most anti-Jew. Like he would go like he would say things. He would just go on rants about knowing Jewish people. Like, yeah, but just like anybody, there's good black people, there's bad black people. I don't know when it was, but that was it. The heel turn. That was the first time I was like, wait the fuck a second, like because when he would play his parody songs, just making shit up.
I think
Song.
Oh, You're good. I thought you were cutting out there for a sec, Apex, but you're good.
There, Apex. I think he might. I think he might have cut out Sam.
Yeah, I think Teddy might have grabbed Apex. I do want to take a moment to say thanks to Fat Heck Boy for the $7 donation. So
Oh, right on.
So, yeah, give me money, you pay pigs. I've only gotten $7 so far. Amy and I need more money to feed the alpacas. So
Yeah, you need to get with it, Sam. You start talking about the moon landing, something like that.
there are things I could talk. There are things I could talk out to get money, but I'm honestly a sellout. So, and yeah, for those who are new, yeah, there was a whole turpentine drinking saga where Owen thought that you could drink turpentine because it cured gay intestinal worms or something like that. So.
And that's the man that's going to bring Patreon to their knees. Just to make that clear. That's the man that everybody that is the hero nowadays, according to the mainstream YouTube narrative.
And that's my other point too. Is it's like, do you really want? I mean, because let me be clear. I don't think anyone likes the idea of creators being deplatformed from Patreon. But if you're going to get someone who is a free speech warrior, even if they might be controversial, pick someone like Nick Fuentes, who I don't necessarily agree with or I don't necessarily even like, but at least Nick is consistent or something, as opposed to a man like Owen who is pretty much the case for why the entire right wing should be banned from the internet. I mean, that dude is like an example for why someone should be 5150'd. So
yeah, now we're getting into the weeds there, because a lot of this can't be substantiated. But now there came, I think James Alsop put an article out a couple of weeks ago about Fuentes. How Fuentes might have some Fed connections vis-a-vis Milo Yiannopoulos. But
yeah.
there's that school of thought that says that all of these men are controlled to some degree or another. Now, this is kind of conspiratorial, so we're just shooting the shit here, basically. But that it should be considered that there's a possibility that Owen, by way of Teddy, by way of Cernovich, are connected to some shady characters, let's say. Spooks, in other words. So, I mean, this whole thing could just be a show for our amusement, at the very least. It could be part of a bigger, more nefarious plot.
Yeah, I can hear you. So.
Thank fuck, man. I don't know what the hell's going on. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh yeah, you're back now. Yeah, we were just talking about how this might be a part of a bigger play. This whole because I don't know if you've heard. I mean, like I said, it's just talk for the most part. Internet talk,
just speculation,
right? But yeah, I mean, these guys. That's like Sam said. They might just be there to make the right look ridiculous.
Well, that's been a speculation of mine early on from Owen, because even before me, the Danger Zone, as they're known, most prominently by Owen, he was an ex-Hollywood dude that talked a lot of conservative and right-wing ideals, and he talked shit on Hollywood, and he was relatively funny, and he communicated with his audience, and I mean, he was like the ideal kind of streamer, more or less, for for the, I don't want to say for anybody in particular, but he was relatively normal, but he definitely had more conservative leaning views by the time he started streaming, and certainly by the time I found him. And yeah, that's been a speculation I mean, I had the thought, but I've seen it in my comments almost fucking every video that I posted for over a year, that that Owen was compromised or something to that degree, that he was working for somebody else, or maybe just something as simple as taking direction, like, yeah, now go this direction or whatever, which is of course a wild theory, but it's not beyond the pale. It really isn't in this day and age.
I agree.
I mean, in regards to what you were saying to the whole thing with, Allsup and Fuentes, I mean, look, I actually at one point interviewed, Allsup on his show. The thing with the whole kind of like alt-right, sphere too is, I mean, they're all kind of, it's interesting that Fuentes is saying that, or that Allsup is saying that that Fuentes is fed because, like you said, I mean, there's a chance that they're all, feds, or at least, Soros controlled,
right,
to a certain extent. So, so that's all very interesting.
I mean, I also think that I do have to say that that's a dangerous line of thought too, because, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to think that anybody with prominence is controlled, which, fuck, it's kind of hard to argue against, in a lot of ways, because people are allowed their private lives, especially, or at least they're supposed to be in this country and on the greater internet. And, when someone gains popularity, inevitably people are, have theories that, you put yourself out there for the world, and you quite literally give the entire world the opportunity to speculate about your actions and behaviors and, et cetera. So, if you come up with a solid enough theory or a sound enough, loose enough theory, which is how the flat earth became a thing. I mean, let's be real. You present enough arguments presented in the right way about a certain topic, and people that don't have enough information or understanding about, the topic at hand, or better yet, have bad information about the topic at hand, especially when it comes to things like, I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't think it's a bad idea to assume everybody on the internet's a fucking working for somebody. Like, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to deter people from that thought, because it's definitely a possibility. Who the fuck knows anymore, man?
I will tell you up front, I'll be honest. When I was younger, like even back in high school,
you were approached by a Chinese Communist Party agent, right? Just come clean, dude. Sorry. Go ahead.
I wasn't approached by the CCP, but in all seriousness, I was. A couple people did approach me from CPAC at the time, to basically like be a young conservative spokesperson, and they basically they wanted me to kind of be, use the fact that I'm in a wheelchair as kind of like my platform, which, I wasn't really into that, totally.
I wonder why, Sam.
But and even so, my mom was also kind of like, no, you've got to finish high school first, and thank God everything kind of panned out the way it did, because a lot of the same people that approached me actually ended up going to the whole never Trump side, and in 2016, and I went pro Trump. So then those people thought I was a Trump shill, which
they always will.
So
you'll never convince them otherwise, man.
So
it's the weirdest. We live in the weirdest fucking time. I actually posted a tweet. It didn't get much traction, but I don't really care, because My Twitter has just become my personal gamma musings and thoughts and shit posting. But I've had several conversations with veterans, both of World War II and of Vietnam, and just old timers in general, but more specifically, some of the actual veterans that are like having conversations with me, and I can see like genuine fear in their eyes when they're talking about how much, like, they've never seen anything like what's going on right now. They've never seen anything like it. They've never not been able to talk to people. They've never, like, just the wedge as it's been described has never been deeper in this country, and it's freaking them out as the old timers that they are. And of course, that gives me all sorts of comfort as a as a man of age that can do something about it in this country right now. So it's just, it's so weird talking to younger people that have, even the younger people that have like the conservative mindset, or just not the super leftist retard mindset, and they want to show me their TikTok videos, and they want to explain how they're getting popular on TikTok and how they spend all their time on TikTok. And like, Sam, as you know, been kind of obsessed with China and shit lately, and have done an inordinate amount of research. And you want to talk about getting freaked the fuck out, or if you don't want to get freaked the fuck out, stay away from China, which I think is what has happened, both with our politicians and just our country at large. Sorry for that loud fucking noise, but the approach to China back in the 90s was, we'll hands off approach, and they'll inevitably come to freedom. But like, I think I was trying to make it a smooth segue, but the banning of TikTok, which is something you wanted to discuss, Sam, I think is not only necessary, but it's probably going to make things worse before it gets any better. But one of the net positives that I see is China is going to push back, which they already are, and it's going to force companies like Facebook, who have incredibly shady data collection practices, to face the music too. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Like, if China's doing things so bad and we need to start banning shit, then what the fuck is Facebook doing? And because they're an American company. So
yeah, well,
I mean, go ahead.
Well, kind of going back to the whole grifter thing, though, that's kind of where I guess Teddy Spaghetti is saying that Social Galactica is going to be a whole, thing too, to kind of, take out like Facebook and whatnot. Which, listen, I don't trust the Chi-Coms, but I don't trust, the whole unauthorized crew either. So,
well, listen, let me put it to you this way, Sam. I would, if I were given in some bizarre hypothetical, I had to choose between the two, I would pour my fucking life into unauthorized before I would touch anything the Chinese Communist Party has to do with. And I mean that quite literally.
I would probably just get off the internet at that point if those were the two choices I was left with.
Listen, I said some bizarre hypothetical where you had to, Sam. You can't take a third out. You can't make me look like a fool like that on your own show.
I make myself look like a fool on here. So
no, I am the court jester here, Sam. You're the wise man. I'm the idiot. Scorpio's the special guest that makes us both look stupid.
I think E Scorpio is actually the smartest one here. So even though,
hey, wait a minute! Don't blow. You listen. You know what happens when you blow Gamma's heads up, man, or you blow their egos up, rather.
Then the ankle biting starts. So.
Oh, shit.
I did also start watching some of E Scorpio's like other videos on his channel. Then E Scorpio, I saw your video on the book on Charles Manson, which I found interesting.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, Scorpio. I just realized I'm not subbed to you on my backup channel. So
Oh my God, bad gamma.
So
That's That one was interesting. That was I actually I did several videos, but I actually interviewed that author, and that was pretty cool for me because I interviewed Tom O'Neill back in November, and Joe Rogan actually had him on his show. I want to say within the last 2 months. So I actually got to scoop Joe Rogan on that one. So that was pretty cool.
yeah, well, it's interesting because Apex has been trying to get me to watch this show called Mindhunter for the last like year, which is like all about the FBI criminal profiling unit back in the early 80s, and Manson, of course, pops up there at some point. So it was weird because I was watching that on Netflix, and then this morning your video on Manson pops up in my YouTube algorithm. So that was interesting.
well, hopefully it's not the algorithm. Hopefully it was the sub feed, or was it an old video?
It was.
Yeah, it's from last year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was the algo then.
So I don't know. So.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the recent shows. I don't watch anything.
Neither do I really.
You know,
What
have Netflix, Scorpio?
No, I don't know what the hell happened to it. We're using somebody else's account and it stopped working. So I don't know.
I am too now, technically. So
I watch a lot of YouTube, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I feel you. You know what? I buy like one video game every other year or so. That's how it's averaged out for the last like 6 or 7 years. But this year I have purchased 2 video games, Doom Eternal and now Ghost of Tsushima. And if either of you play video games and have a PlayStation and ever wanted to be a fucking samurai, you should play Ghost of Tsushima because it's fucking sweet. It's super fun. I highly recommend it.
Well,
as a nerd.
I mean, I'm a samurai on YouTube. I slay locals with you guys. So
true story.
That's
I've been moving, so shit's kind of weird for me. So yeah. I'm playing video games and doing weird shit.
But anyway, well, Scorpio, do you have any more coverage on the Owen thing you'd like to bring us, or any more predictions at this point?
The only other thing is, I know. I don't know if y'all heard that Owen had the third child. I think it was just yesterday.
What? For real?
The third baby was born. Jack Arthur is his name.
Oh well, congratulations to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's going to be real. That's going to be really interesting with everything with Barataria and
what's the middle one's name?
Charlie.
Oh,
Charlie.
Yeah,
There's
Charlie
Wally, Charlie, and now Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, Walter, Charlie, and Jack. Yeah. Well, that's we'll have to check in on them in a few years.
But
that's just it. I mean, we're talking about just to keep people abreast of the lore. But other than that, Sam, I mean, we got the Patreon thing going on. We got that's still going on. Barataria is kind of subsiding. The feuds are kind of subsiding. I guess we're moving on to the next chapter, whatever that might be. I really do think, as far as this Patreon thing goes, I think it'll probably stall out for a while to the point where it gets boring. But don't be surprised if we hear about we see the victory lap go for another week or so.
Yeah, I expect that for sure.
I kind of predict if I may do so. I kind of predict that there's going to be a victory lap, and then in about like a month or so at the latest, there's going to be sheer panic, and that's kind of based on the whole Nimmer thing initially, because first go around with the FOIA, when Chuck went in and did that the first go around, there wasn't anything on Nimmer the first go round. So then, the Bears thought they were home free, and then the FOIA came back with the actual information, and then the panic set in. So,
I personally think something else. Well, I mean, not that much different, but like I said earlier, I personally think this shit's going to go on for a lot longer than anybody thinks. Just because of, especially if it's as bad for Patreon, or it looks as bad for Patreon as everyone thinks it does. I could see this going on for years. So the victory lap for sure. And then what's going to happen, my prediction anyway, is it's going to be asked about in chat. It's going to be a bannable offense after about 5 or 6 months, maybe, sometime early next year. And then something outrageous will happen. Owen will make something outrageous happen, be it a feud, or maybe him and Teddy Spaghetti have a fake falling out. And that distracts the fuck out of the Bears. And, for the next 6-8 months, Owen calls him a thumb, and Vox calls him a big retard, and, something like that. And it drums up all this fucking support, and nobody pays any attention. Something like that, and quietly, either they lose, or if it turns out that at the end of the fucking race, they win, there will be another real victory lap. And then the internet will burn down, and we will all die because life isn't real at that point.
Yeah. So, yeah.
See, I'm good at killing this. I'm good at killing shows, man. Just ruin it.
No, I'm just checking the chat here right now. So, don't worry. Don't worry. We'll be talking about China and Antifa and everything here. I just wanted to get E Scorpion on here to talk about the whole Owen thing. So,
yeah.
Anyway, though, any other work coming up, E Scorpio, unrelated to,
Yeah, it's been.
Or are you?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly want to do things unrelated to Owen, but who knows how this thing goes? I might do some more update videos about the case and everything, because that people seem to like that. But I still have my my Grifter series to move on to, and that's been going. So I wanted to get it out a lot sooner, but as I think I told you in Discord, Sam, that just been real busy with work and with family things. So, I don't do this professionally or anything. It's just a fun little thing on the side. So that the first episode of the Grifter series is going to come out, and I want that. The first episode is going to focus on defining what a grifter is, because that word gets bandied about a lot, and it's one of those words that has almost lost its meaning. I mean, I'm sure that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've been called a grifter. I'm sure there's been people that will call Sam a grifter, but it's one of those type of situations. It has a very specific meaning, and I want to address that right off the bat. And I might do a short in that episode. I'm planning on doing a short profile of Cassandra Fairbanks. So
all the grifter is, in my opinion, is the internet equivalent of the confidence man.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. But
that's good. I look forward to that, man. I'm already resubbed, so.
All right, man. Right on. Well, I'll let y'all guys go, man.
All right.
Had
Well,
fun
dude, it's
talking
good
to you all
talking to you,
tonight.
Scorpio. You should join us more often, dude. It's nice talking to you.
Yeah, man. What y'all do this every Saturday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam's every Saturday night.
Around 10 p.m. So.
Yeah, just let me know whenever you want to bring me on to talk about something.
Alrighty.
You come on. Listen, I don't ever have nothing to talk about, man. I just come on and talk shit and ruin Sam's show. You come do it with me.
No.
All right, Apex.
All right, man. Yeah, have a good night, buddy.
All right, see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Nah, if I wanted to ruin the show, I would invite Evil Eric on here.
I've never even heard Evil Eric's voice, I don't think. And I've been his frenemy for well over a year now, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that Evil Eric just has a man crush on me. So, but
of course he does.
But yeah, and by the way, yes, folks, I actually did shave my face because my beard prior to today was getting to Owen levels of proportion, so of gnarliness. So I decided, you know what? Instead of trying to trim the thing, I'm just gonna shave it and start it all over again, which I do every 90 days anyway. So, and now everyone thinks I look like a baby face, but it is what it is, I guess. So, but anyway, so yeah, Apex. Turns out you've been right at China this whole entire time, boy.
Well, we'll see. I would like to. Honestly, my prediction. I mean, because the shit that I've been saying about China is not a secret. I mean, it's really not hard. It's harder to find than it should be. It's not as prominent in people's faces as it should be. Some of the things like they're fucking the organ harvesting of Falun Gong and the Muslim Uyghur population, dude. Like that shit's fucking atrocious. Nothing America ever did in its entire history compares to the shit that's going on in China right now. But my prediction, what I hope to see in our near future, or at least in our lifetimes, is another great Iron Curtain falling.
Yeah,
for the world to see what's behind it, because the Communist Party is. I mean, it's kind of fucked up, dude. Because there's still Mao killed more motherfucking people than Stalin and Hitler put together, and he's still on their money. So there's some indoctrination. There's indoctrination all over the world. People, old timers, and just people that have, even young people. But I just don't see. The world seems to be waking up to it, and it's not just the United States. Fucking Germany is even changing their rhetoric towards China. Not much, but it's slightly more aggressive than it was. Whereas they just let them do whatever the fuck they want. And so again, I don't think banning TikTok is. Not only do I not think it's bad, I think it's smart. It's a good move. And I mean, with the shit that's going on in their country right now, or on their fucking continent, basically. I mean, they're flooding. Their major rivers are flooding. The Three Gorges Dam, which is the largest hydroelectric plant in the world, that motherfucker's going to go down, and there's 100 million people in the path of that destruction. They're locking people, they're welding people back in their homes because there's more CCP virus outbreaks. And I mean, again, this shit's not a secret, but you have to actually look for it in a lot of ways. There's some pretty good YouTube channels, but even from there, I like to research, YouTube videos that I watch because I've been fucking duped too many times. So finding channels that put, links to articles in their descriptions is kind of a key feature for me for channels that I watch.
Well, Tim Pool kind of had like an interesting theory on China, and I was kind of surprised on this because he's usually not like, he usually plays it safe and not like too conspiratorial, but he did say that maybe this, he thinks that like maybe like a lot of this, Black Lives Matter, he didn't say Black Lives Matter specifically, but he said a lot of this rioting and a lot of this violence could be potentially like, sponsored or inflamed by, communist China.
No doubt. That's the other thing. Man. We just closed that consulate in Houston, and of course China was like, oh, well, you close one of our consulates, we'll close the fucking Chengdu consulate, the one that fucking doesn't matter and nobody fucking even knows about. But like that shit's been linked, dude. The intellectual property theft alone is outrageous, dude. The shit that can be proved, just the shit that can be proven, which is pathetic when you go back in China's history and the things that they've developed in, thousands of years ago, things like the compass and stuff like that. But yeah, they're, the communist, I don't know. I mean, there's infighting within the Communist Party too, though, because Xi Jinping, the quote unquote president is not very liked, and he's taken a very different approach, a very much more hardline approach to their goals, much less subversive, I guess, and more in your face and fuck you, which has kind of got them where they are now.
Well,
and the diehard communists are like, whoa, we haven't taken over the fucking world yet. What are you doing? They're just confident that they're deep enough that they can. And fuck, they might be. I hope not, but.
I sure as hell hope not either. Well, I mean, I've been saying for months and months and months that, I mean, pretty much since the beginning of quarantine, basically.
Yeah. Rabo in the chat. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Rabo in the chat says this is a worldwide offensive. COVID was a huge and obvious Trojan for numerous globalist agendas. And I mean, that's right on the fucking nose, dude.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. So, back in December of last year, I have a family member who works for a very successful company, and I'm trying to keep names private, but one of my family members who works for this successful company has a client who is Muslim and who is from a Middle Eastern country. And so this Muslim client actually asked my family member if they support Trump, and of course it's my family, so this family member said yes, but was kind of like startled that their client would ask this, and so they got to talking, and this Muslim guy basically says that he supports Trump because Trump is the only one who's been, I guess, sort of outspoken about the Uyghur Muslim Holocaust in China.
Yeah.
And so I started doing more research into this. So back in December, I guess Trump basically cut off he basically
that was part of those sanctions, dude, right?
Yeah, he basically the whole Uyghur thing was part of those sanctions against China. And so it's weird to me because those sanctions get put in place, right? And then 2 months later, not even 2 months later, a month later at the most, coronavirus becomes a thing. All of a sudden. Now,
Yeah.
that's
You're on to something. Go ahead.
that is strange fucking timing, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Sam. And you know what? Beyond that, you know who controls almost 100% of the global PPE production that is required by law in some states now in this country to wear? It is all China made. Even our 3M factories in China were seized during the early part of this year because they weren't sending masks. An American company in China wasn't sending PPE here during this, the early stages of this pandemic because the Chinese Communist Party seized that company to take that shit because it's on their land. So they, according to them, it's fine, which is a big fucking deal. But no, that's right on the nose, dude. Because if you think about everybody in the whole fucking world locked down basically for a few months, and one of the only countries on the planet making masks is China. Even the company that I work for, every fucking box that has come through has got Chinese characters all over the shit. So while our economy has been sinking and we're fucking working on these stupid fucking stimulus packages and shit, the Chinese economy has been, they went back to normal pretty quick. Remember? They were like, oh yeah, we didn't have that many cases, of which of course they were lying about, but they still had face, which is what they're all about, is face. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It matters what people see, which is why the communist propaganda reaches so fucking far into our universities and our media companies, and not just ours, all over the fucking world, dude. And it's, again, people are finally waking up to it. Hopefully not too late. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's weird here though too, and like here in Florida specifically, because in Florida we were beginning to open up, and then we basically like closed back down again, and I don't know if it was you I was talking to, or I was talking to someone, but I was talking about how I personally I'm frustrated because I hate to say this, but I've kind of spent the entire summer as more or less like a shut-in because I can't really go anywhere. None of the restaurants are really open for to sit down. Anything. My friends, or I guess like my close friends here at least, one of them is like engaged to a nurse, and she actually works in a hospital. So, basically, they don't want anyone over, which is kind of unfortunate because their house is usually the one that we all congregate at, and like no one really wants to go anywhere right now here. So it is kind of
everyone's fucking. They're all pussies, man. They're all scared to death. They're all scared to death, and I really can't call them pussies. I can't really blame them.
Yeah, part of me would like to, but at the same time, it's kind of like I get it. So
yeah, but that's why it's our responsibility to try and educate those people.
Oh yeah,
or to at least change their perspective. Because one of the things that bothers me the most about this shit. Is, as I've mentioned before, I believe, at least on this stream, if not on Versus Media stream, that I work effectively in retail. Like I deal with customers and I have employees under me. There's cash registers. There's, several transactions throughout the day. And it's effectively corporate owned. So like it's a weird position for me to be in personally, because I'm not used to this kind of, rigidity. But at any rate, it's a bunch of Band-Aids. They recently sent out a bunch of personal sanitizers for everybody, for all employees on staff. They've got little fucking carabiners, so you can hook them onto your fucking belt loop. They're little hand sanitizers in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, the problem with that is they established back in like January that alcohol does not kill the COVID-19 virus. So that literally does nothing for what it's supposedly for. I mean, personal sanitation is fine. Like, I'm fine with that, but this being their response to you don't get hired and get a fucking little sanitizer bottle. This was a response to a viral pandemic in which this certain action does nothing to prevent. Much like the masks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know what? People dumping hand sanitizer on their hands every fucking 3 minutes and wearing a mask over their face is going to do one thing for sure. It's going to kill all the bacteria on their hand every 5 minutes, and it's going to prevent them from breathing any potential bacteria in the air. Well, maybe not any, but a good portion, because as much as I hate the masks, they obviously do something. They obviously work for the purpose that they were created for. Surgeons wear them, nurses wear them, but they're not the fucking prevent all. Like, it's just this blanket Band-Aid mentality that really bothers me. They're like, just fucking strap the mask on and pour sanitizer on your hands every fucking 30 seconds and you'll be fine.
Well,
But the point, my long-winded point here is the human immune system and just immune systems in general of any living fucking thing. Its sole purpose is to get sick, so help you better not get sick. Like, you have to take bad things in order to prevent those bad things from hurting you, right? I mean, obviously, when we're talking about viruses and shit, it's not the same thing. But when the measures being taken and forced upon, say, employees of companies across the fucking country, bartenders, for fuck's sake, have to wear masks, and the customers rather are being forced to wear masks when they walk in the door. But the rules are so fucking weird. You got to wear it in the door, but your whole point is to sit there and drink and smoke cigarettes. So you can't really do both. So you sit down, you take your mask off, but if you get up, you got to put it back on. It's the most bizarre shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what my friend told me is the case in Colorado. I mean,
it's bizarre.
Yeah, someone else said, Ivan's son in the chat said the virus can get in through the eyes, and yeah, I'm glad he brought that up because now Fauci wants now Fauci wants people to wear like heavy duty goggles, and it's like unless you want to give me like a voucher for like for Oakley goggles or something expensive, I'll just wear regular sunglasses. And that.
Well, I've had 4 eyes for 20 years, so checkmate, motherfucker.
That's it. So but I mean, if they want if I have to wear goggles, I mean, for fuck's sake.
No, it ain't gonna happen, dude. It ain't gonna happen. I mean, I just regaled you with the story of bars in my local area. Those are the rules. Nobody's doing it. Even nobody's doing it, dude.
See,
to play the devil's advocate, though, I understand. And again, I feel like I've made this point before, but I actually kind of get and sort of support the idea, at least tacitly, of asking customers to wear masks when they're shopping in the store during this, whatever, call it fake, call it whatever you want. I don't think the virus is fake. I think the coverage and the numbers and almost everything else involved is. But the thing is you can't control the public. I like having worked in other businesses that deal with customers, people piss and shit on anything that they can for reasons that you can't comprehend. because they're disgusting is really what it boils down to. So if some degenerate's been sitting at home 2 days fucking coughing on himself and decided he needed fucking something from the store that you sell and gets off his fucking ass and straps fucking sweatpants on and slippers and wanders around your store coughing all over the fucking place and touching shit. Like, sure, you could say that store should just be taking better care of cleaning things. But, you know, again, playing the devil's advocate, I get asking you, you can't be forced to do it. Ask you to do it is one thing. But making the customer or the employees rather, without further like preventative, just protection, man. Like anybody else, dudes that wear sandblasting gear and shit all day, or dudes that wear heavy PPE tend to wear not just oximeters, but other, environmental, like gauges and shit, things that measure their, whether we're talking radiation or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of talking out my ass now, but the point is lost.
Well, I mean, you say you're talking out your ass, Apex, but I mean, honestly, the whole thing is, when it comes to this whole coronavirus thing, everyone's talking out their ass because no one really knows what the fuck is going on. Is going on. I mean, and what's infuriating for me personally as like a Floridian is, okay, there's this ridiculous stat out there that says that, Florida has like more cases of like, COVID in it than some like small countries. And I mean, sure, that's the case, but also, and I mean, I hate to say this, but all of the cases where COVID is majorly spiking is in Miami, which is in Miami-Dade, which I haven't actually been physically in Miami-Dade, but Miami-Dade, from what everyone tells me, is a fucking disgusting place. That's where like all the nightclubs and hot chicks are, but like that's basically the only good thing in Miami-Dade. The rest of that place is
listen, Sam. Hot chicks are just a veneer if they're in a disgusting place most of the time.
Yeah,
just remember that.
Well, but like the Tampa where I'm kind of in, I mean, Tampa and the rest of Florida is completely fine, and yet basically they're using Miami-Dade and Broward County as the excuse to basically shut the whole entire state down again. So, thanks, Miami.
Well, but that's the other problem, dude, is the numbers aren't real. Like, I mean, Elon Musk fucking talked about it how long ago on Joe Rogan's podcast, and still nobody fucking knows that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. Elon Musk has been getting, crapped on too for that too. Like I actually heard, or rather saw, someone on Twitter call Elon Musk a right-wing extremist the other day, simply because Elon Musk acknowledged that the left has gone too far now. Which they have.
Well, and they did the same shit with Jordan Peterson a few years ago too, remember? And Jordan Peterson is he's a pretty hardcore leftist, actually.
Yeah.
But just because he wasn't like, I'm not going to call you whatever fucking weird gender you want to call. They're like, you fucking, or, whatever. I don't even remember I don't remember.
Raybo in the chat says he wants a plague doctor mask. Well, Raybo, I wish I had clicked on that link in my Facebook timeline the other day, because I would have. I've actually been getting links and advertisements for fucking for fucking plague doctor mask. I was tempted to order one and then wear one on this show just to weird you guys out. So, although I think the fact that I shaved is weirding a bunch of you guys out. So.
I had two dudes walk in to my store wearing Lego Batman masks over their faces, which I thought was really funny. And I'm like, my cashier at the time was like fucking really old and anti-mask. She's like, I'm sorry, those aren't going to work. And they pulled out N95 masks and put them over their Lego Batman masks. And I, as the fucking, I'm not going to go too far, but the person in charge, we'll say, was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You don't have to wear either of those, but thank you for being as prepared as you were. Because they were ready for someone to say, no, that's not good enough. You can't wear a fucking Halloween mask in here. This is supposed to be like real. This is a real thing. So he's like, okay. He fucking pulled out an actual face mask and put it over his Halloween mask. That's amazing.
I have like a neck gaiter, which you can turn, kind of into like a mask and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
And because like for me personally, I can't wear the regular mask because the ear things are weird. Like it's hard for me basically just to put them on, just put those masks on just because of my hands and whatnot, and cerebral palsy and whatnot. But I put on this neck gaiter, and the neck gaiter I have is the American flag, but with like a blue stripe, supporting the cops. So I was at the McDonald's the other day, and the cashier was like, I don't like your mask, and I said, well, you people told me I have to wear it, so I'm wearing it. I'm sorry you don't like what's on it, but tough. That's what I have in my house. So,
well, I hope I can find it. There was a study, one of the only studies I think that's been done so far, back in like 2015 or 2016, and I think it was done in South Korea with some 2,000 doctors and nurses and like medical professionals, and they tested the it was like the viral transmission and like just the transmission of capability of masks, surgical masks versus cloth masks versus no masks or something like that. And the transmission rate of cloth masks is like 93% or something like that. So these neck gaiters and people making their own shit at home is even more pointless than the surgical masks, because again, from the one study that's been done, again, it's just a fucking Band-Aid. It is just, you're putting that thing on not because you believe it, but because you think because other people feel better seeing you with it on. I don't feel better putting the fucking thing on. I don't know anybody that does. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I do know some people, but they're all fucking retarded.
I honestly, it's a pain in the ass for me too, because I'm out. Because anytime I go out, this is the other reason why I've kind of been shut in, for a good part of the summer, is because it's it's July/August in Florida. It's hot as fuck here, and humid as fuck. So, it's hard enough going outside, and then you want me to put like a fucking mask on, so I can't, so I have to breathe that humidity in through a mask. Yeah, it's I mean, it the whole thing is retarded, but but
it is very retarded. No, it's very, very, very retarded. Yeah. And it makes me very angry, because I am an empathetic person by nature, and I am a sympathetic person by nature, sometimes in history to a fault in some ways. So like trying to take care of other people, basically I've had a very liberal mindset for most of my life. And I still do in a lot of ways. I really do think people should be allowed to do and say whatever the fuck they want. I think that's
same here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty liberal. But I lost my point. What was I saying?
You were pretty empathetic towards people.
Oh no! That's what pisses me off about this whole thing is the fact that I am like I do care about people, and I do like I want to do what I can to help people. Generally speaking, but like it is just everything I see right now is just it's just big band-aids. Nobody's doing anything. It's just like the Black Lives Matter bullshit. Everyone started burning shit down, and all the companies across the fucking country were like, slap a black logo on it, put a hashtag on it, we're on board, because that's fucking marketable. Nobody did anything about the actual police brutality or any of it. None of that has changed. The only thing that's happened is a fucking knee jerk the other way. Let's fucking abolish the police. So again, that's what pisses me off is it's a wedge issue like I've never seen in my life, which again, I'm not that old, but even the old timers that are twice my age and then some are like, holy fuck, boy, I hope you got guns and I hope you know how to use them.
Yeah.
And I hope you don't got that much family because holy shit.
Yeah. I'm not that old either. I mean, I'm younger than you. I'm 20, I'm 25, but I will say too, I feel like this shit has aged me in some ways, and not necessarily like in a good way either. I honestly, I'm not like trying to say that I've seen like really traumatic shit like veterans have. Obviously, there are people who have seen way worse shit than I have, so I'm not saying that, but. With all that's going on in the world, and the fact that I also pay attention to what's going on in the world, I feel like I've seen a lot more shit than most people my age have, just by virtue of the fact that like I'm actually aware semi of what's going on. So
yeah, well, Warfist posted in the chat a link to a PubMed.ncbi. a bunch of other things.gov about the effects of surgical masks and deoxygenization. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
On surgeons during major surgeries, which was done before the whole COVID-19 shit. So that's a good one to stick a bookmark on.
Well, and I don't know if you saw this. I was trying to find this clip, but someone actually took it down. But I guess Jim Jordan, who is a Republican congressman, basically questioned Fauci because the clip starts and Fauci was Jim Jordan asked him, so Dr. Fauci, would you recommend the government putting a halt on all of these protests and whatnot that are going out there for like Black Lives Matter and whatnot? Would you recommend people stop gathering? And Fauci says, well, I can't stop people from... I can't suggest that because I don't have the purview to stop people from, gathering in protest groups like that. That's not part of my job. And Jim Jordan goes, well, you shut down bars and told people they can't go out to restaurants or any of that. How is...
And fucking churches.
Yeah, and churches.
Sorry.
How is that any different? So, and folks, I don't go to bars a lot, but here in Florida, that is where. Well, I mean, let's face it, I'm a college kid, so yeah, partially that is where my friends and I gather. Not all the time, but yeah, it's just. Like I said, everything here is closed, and so, like I said a couple of streams ago, drinking with your friends on Zoom is only fun for so long. So, But
well, I used to. I don't remember. I don't remember what I was going to say, dude. You know what? I might be retarded, Sam.
well, I mean,
I have a fucking terrible. You know what? I just have a terrible memory when I'm on the internet with you, or anybody for that matter. I just feel like maybe it's all the weed I smoke and the beer I drink. That's probably it.
well, I mean, Alex Jones admits he's retarded, and he's a genius. So
Now, wait a minute, Joe Rogan. He said he might be retarded. He might be. The qualifier might be. That's a terrible Alex Jones.
well,
But,
that
you know, you get it.
well that's kind of how I see you and I though. Like we might either be geniuses or we might be completely retarded. So who
I think. Listen, man. I think the two go hand in hand. The smartest people I've ever met, and I'm talking cyclotron engineers, people that work on particle accelerators and build individual parts for those particle accelerators. Of which I've met one of those type of people, are also the most retarded people I've ever met. Again, this one specific person, I guess I shouldn't be so general, but no, it is general, but I'm using an example that's only specific to one person. The smartest people I've ever met in like engineering or art or science or fucking geography or whatever debate are incredibly retarded in some of the more simple ways. Specifically, I used the cyclotron engineer example because this dude was a fucking literal genius in engineering and like an electrical genius. This fucking dude blew me away in so many ways. But you took him to a public place with other human beings. And I mean, I've dealt with awkward people before, often, but I've never dealt with anything like it. It was a man specific. Basically, just imagine a nerd, like the biggest fucking like 70s hippie nerd. Computers are becoming a thing. That was, and he was just a gangly fucking nerd his whole life, and then became a cyclotron engineer making like $120,000 a year, with zero social skills, and he's in his 50s or 60s or whatever, trying to pick up women. I can't even describe. I've never even seen like a depiction on like a comedy or a show, but it's like a Always Sunny in Philadelphia type thing.
no,
Like it's so fucking like it's so such awkward type of comedy that you can't even laugh at it sometimes.
no,
If it were happening to you,
I get it because my mom used to work for like Microsoft back in the like early to mid 80s, back when like the personal computer was just becoming a thing. And so she has, stories, that whole entire thing, too, of just, most of her colleagues were pure nerds. So I mean, as the chat points out, and as to me regularly, and as people, as my IRL friends and my online friends point out, I'm a flirt basically. So, and I'll admit that I think you were the one who actually called me like the straight Owen Benjamin or something like that.
I don't know if that was
when you were
maybe
when you were drunk or something when I was like, I don't know.
okay. That could be. That could. You know what? I'll give you that. I'll take that one. It sounds like something I would say because I'm fucking retarded. And when I get drunk and on the internet, God only knows. I should listen back more to the things I say on the internet, but I don't.
So you get retarded, and I just get like super flirty with the chat when I'm buzzed. So
I think the chat gets super floaty with you.
Yeah,
You don't
well,
have to do much. You don't have to do much, but take your shirt off.
well, I mean, no one has, PayPal me for that specifically yet. So
I saw Fat Kick Boy. I saw Fat Kick Boy tipped you $7 earlier.
yeah, he did earlier. Which, by the way, it might be a good time to play back the see if we got any more donos. But yeah. Oh, Fat Kick Boy donated $1 again. So thanks again, Fat Kick Boy. So yeah, I finally watched Mindhunter after a year and a half of you bugging me. So
Sorry. COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, so did you finish it? Or where are you at?
I am halfway through season 2. And
there's only 3, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't think there's going to be any more, to be honest with you, but I'm not sure.
Go
ahead, Ben.
Alan Powell says it's not a good show. Well, I mean,
well, of course not.
That's just Alan's opinion. I mean, I'm not sure what Alan does in his free time either. So, yeah,
he's the greatest troll that's ever lived. So,
well, so this is bad because the one thing I kept thinking was Ed Kemper, the serial killer, seems normal compared to Owen Benjamin.
Oh, dude, you know what? I actually went down the rabbit hole and I watched some actual Ed Kemper interviews because I researched the show when I found it, and the Mindhunter is actually a book written by the dude that plays whatever the fuck his name is, the main kid. But Ed Kemper, the real Ed Kemper, is fucking the dude that plays him in the show does a fucking fantastic job, because the real Ed Kemper is fucking weird, dude. It's so weird how normal he is, man.
Yeah.
Like, and the way he talks about the shit that he did and the way he thought and how open and honest. Oh man, like I just imagine how useful he would have been to these burgeoning psychoanalysts.
Well, that's what's weird about that. I will say that, and people think I'm crazy, but that is what is so unsettling about Owen, is how casual he. This was another video that popped up from Milker Nation in my feed, was when Owen was talking out wanting to murder, pedophiles, basically, but like how it wouldn't bother him. And I mean, unfortunately, according to Owen,
that was one of my videos, actually. Well, actually, technically, to be totally honest, it was a Johnny Arcade video that I posted on both of my channels, where he talked about wanting to go to gay pride parades and shoot up trans book readings and shit.
Yep. Oh, so Owen Kemper is
Owen Kemper.
We're gonna get that trending now. Owen Kemper. So but yeah. So we have China. Let's see. No, there haven't been any riots this week, surprisingly. At least not that I've seen. So
I did not realize I was muted. Sorry, Sam. I was typing in the chat too. Can you repeat what you just said?
Oh, what I was going to say is we had the whole thing with China, which we just covered, and then there haven't been any Black Lives Matter protests or anything like that this week, at least not that I've seen.
You know what? There have. Just not any that have caused any ruckus. Because in way out here in my neck of the cornfields, there have actually been some, labeled Black Lives Matter protests, but these fucking good old boys don't put up with no shit. So ain't nothing caught on fire. Ain't nobody got hurt. It's just people yelling at each other with guns. Fuck you, no fuck you, and everything's fine.
Well,
mostly there's not even so much of that going on. It's just a bunch of idiots standing on a street corner or in a certain place and chanting something. People are like, yeah, whatever, dude. And they go about their business because they got better shit to do.
Well, that's good. See, as long as the protests remain peaceful, I don't mind if there are protests. It's just when they become riots. So.
Oh, hey. Should we join? Is Versus going? Versus live, right?
Versa is live, and I assume they've been talking about the. I think they've been talking about the TikTok thing a lot. So, but
yeah, I'm gonna go. Let's go join them, man.
Yeah,
you want to join them?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've basically covered everything we wanted to, but. Like I said, folks, thanks for supporting me, and like I said, 700 subs on YouTube. That's a big deal. So
listen, you fucking degenerates! If you're not subscribed to Sam Whitfield and the Whitfield Report, you should be. Don't say bye, Raybo, because we're gonna start again. I think, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna end the stream, and then I'm gonna start another one for the Versa guys, and who knows? Maybe we'll do an after show. And I mean, I'm sorry. I know you guys like my beard, but when I say that I was starting to look like Owen, I was. So it was either me looking really scruffy and gangly or this. But anyway, folks, I want to thank you so much for joining me for tonight's Whitfield Report, and I'll be back in a few minutes for the for segment 2. And yeah, so God bless and God save this great nation. Thank you.